Well. Welcome back to Crown's Crypto Cave. Waking up for a very late actual morning over here in my new apartment in Estonia. And as always, I do want to be wishing you well. I do want to be wishing you the best. And I want to remind myself to talk about my, to talk about that I probably won't be doing a live stream tonight just because there is so much more groundwork to be done to actually set up. As you can see, I don't have my full setup going right now. Still no camera, but I should be getting that a little bit later today. So overall, if I can solve this at a heroic pace, and perhaps I can actually do a live stream later tonight. But with that said, let's waste no more time. As always, wish you the best, the happiest of the happiest Wednesdays. Yes, have a what is it? Wine Wednesday, Wasted Wednesday, whatever the fuck it is. Let's get into the live stream right here, right now, as we got plenty to talk about with Bitcoin moving in all hours of the day. And there we are, the daily in all of its glory. And of course, starting off here on the daily, we're actually seeing our first kind of signs of this rally really weakening. Momentum also starting to turn down. We do see daily Stokes crossing down for the first time since May 1st, actually the beginning of the month. And of course, we do see daily RSI in danger of getting some bearish divergence here. Now, of course, this is unconfirmed as of right now, just because I want to confirm a local high right here first and foremost. And you can see that, in the past, front running these local high attempts has not ended up too good for the bears. This one right over here smashing a massive red dildo, beyond all bearish Angus's in its way. So looking at this guy right over here, we will confirm this as a local high if we can actually tick below the low of this dildo at 76.18 and 99 cents. I believe BitMexico is a little bit higher than that. Yep, it's 76.27, but overall in the same range. So the second that Bitcoin actually ticks below there, if it were to happen today, then this is confirmed as a local high, and I'd actually be looking for a pretty sizable so a pretty sizable retrace, actually, likely all the way down to about 7,200-ish even, and potential to get actually down into the 6,800s region. So overall, that's kind of what I have my eyes on. But of course, this is unconfirmed as of right now. When it comes down to it, major moving averages all still, quite bullish. When Bitcoin's, hanging out above all major moving averages like this, it's not really the best time to be bearish overall. But I would be looking for likely a pullback if we do see those things initiated. Anyways, with the way that it's kind of stated right now, we do see this green 55 exponential starting to gain more and more momentum away from the purple 200 exponential moving average. So the golden cross is getting stronger over time. It's getting played. That's exactly what we want to see. And we do see the green 55 exponential moving average actually migrating above the blue 377 exponential moving average. So just another lower period getting above a higher period. You can see the slowly changing tides. And I'd say that this really sets this area up as a massive pivot going forwards here. And let's actually go into Bitstamp because it's going to represent these higher time frame moving averages a lot better. Anyways, with regards to this area at 5,300 to 5,400-ish area is incredibly important from a long-term structural standpoint. I'd be completely fine with saying that that bear market is over as long as Bitcoin remains above that area. The second that Bitcoin breaks that area, then we got some problems. But for right now, there's a lot of things coming around this area. We do see some major crosses coming around here. And overall, the more time that Bitcoin can spend above this area, the more and more time that all these moving averages can have to migrate above that 377, and then we'll get that nice splayed out attempt. And that's what that's essentially the definitive marker of a bullish market. Anyways, with regards to that, just kind of show the confluences within this region and why it's so damn important at 5350 to 5400. And it'll change around a little bit more as I stutter around. Fucking annoying. Apologies about that. But overall, we do see the blue 377 exponential moving average right over here. We see the 2-day 200 exponential moving average right over here. We see the 3-day 200 exponential moving average right over here, and we see the weekly 89 and Jesus. Wait, this looks completely different right now. Oh, I'm probably running some different periods. God damn it. No wonder. Let's fix this up. I want to fix this up, make it exactly right, exactly the way that I want to see it. Okay, 200 right there, 377 right there, and there you go. For all the people asking about my setups with that, well, there you go. Anyways, okay, yes, that looks a little bit more right. Okay, cool. Anyways, for all the other ones that we were just looking at, should be around the same area regardless, as those were not the ones that I was changing. But with regards to this 5400-ish area, once again, we do see the green 55 crossing the upside or attempting to cross the upside of this Cyan 89 on the weekly. Very important as well, as that's just, from a historical standpoint, that actually did kind of denote a pretty major turn in the last bear market. As you can see right over here, we do see Bitcoin getting the cross happening right over here. Again, after it was after we actually turned the corner, I would say. So it's a little bit more of a lagging indicator. But of course, if you're a long-term type-minded person, then, that's not the hugest concern. You're more concerned with actually getting on the right trend, right? Anyways, with regards to that, this cross happening in what area? The 5400-ish area. Not only that, but if we put on the 50 simple, which, where are you? There you are. It's going to be represented by this like not so red line, which I really want to make red once again. It just looks sick is what it looks like. Anyways, that's coming in right here, right around 5,400. And same sort of idea on this one, right? Bitcoin has spent about 4 or 5 weeks grinding this area out and then taking it onwards to the upside in a massive explosion. So that is a pivot as far as I look at it just from that, angle. But going back into the history of Bitcoin, we do see that when Bitcoin took out this reddish, this disgustingly reddish, this sickish reddish moving average right here, the 50 simple, that was actually the beginning of your bullish momentum as well, timing it a little bit more appropriately. And of course, to show the final confluence with this massive area is going to be the monthly. And we do see the monthly yellow 21 exponential moving average coming in right around where? Right around about actually 5,500 right now. But, it's in the zone, right? So, I could synthesize it down and say perhaps 5,500, give or take a few bucks, is where I'd be looking for the next major massive pivot on this market. Anyways, with regards to all that, let's talk about some low time frame shit because, well, basically that's where all the action's been going on recently. And it's actually been quite rewarding to trade recently. Overall, Bitcoin looking a little bit sluggish here. Again, I wouldn't necessarily call it, I wouldn't necessarily call this distribution until we actually take out this level once again, this level being about 7,800 to 7,850. The second that Bitcoin takes out this level, however, that is when things start to look a little bit more bleak. Let me actually put back on the 10 simple. There we go. Come on, baby. Get over there. There you go. Okay, beautiful. And overall, we do see our hourly oscillators just that of consolidation, not really telling us all that much. They are technically up right now with price action essentially flat. We're getting a little bit of these rounded tops, which I typically don't like. These are typically indicative of distribution. So we could be seeing our first, our first actual major pullback attempt here. From the way that I look at it, going across the different time frames, we're seeing the 4 hour right over here. I mean, this actually still looks okay, but once again, the second that we actually bust through and break about 7,800, we'll call it on 2 hour, 4 hour preferred, that's when I'm going to start to look for a much deeper retracement down into the lower 7,000s, likely about 7,200 to 7,000 would be kind of like the zone for this. And the numbers are getting so big now just because Bitcoin is once again having pretty volatile movements. So to synthesize things down to very small ranges, very difficult to do in this area. In fact, as you saw yesterday, we had a nice little hunt attempt, a very good hunt attempt. Where was it? It was right over here, right, where Bitcoin was kind of reaccumulating and then ended up getting rejected, getting our first major bearish divergence along the way. I was obviously not even at a computer when this happened, so I couldn't really, I couldn't really look at it in real time. But coming back to it a little bit later, very obviously a little bit of a stop run and a little bit of a hunt, institutional order flow dynamics at play right as we approach a new higher high, or sorry, our former high right over here from July, August in 2018, Bitcoin finding some sell pressure as you'd expect. And not only is this area important from just this perspective, but also just going over here to the monthly, right? The monthly is, again, the most important chart for me for long-term trend, right? And we do see where we essentially at. We're essentially at the same area where the monthly starts, coming in contact with making higher highs. And that would be our first higher high in the monthly. And well over a year, and I think about a year and a half now, going back all the way over here. So again, the monthly still is technically making low lows and lower highs, which is a downtrend, but going to be, if I had to make a gander, I'd say that we're probably going to make a higher high here at some point. But lower time frames, do they want to pull back first is the real question. So let's look at our monthly just for a second, just to dissect it a little bit more. We do see monthly Stokes having a fresh cross the upside. Again, this did do a decent job of calling the bullish momentum in 2015. However, when we actually did get the cross, this was June 2015. In June 2015, we were actually marching up like little fucking lemmings to get rejected, smacked back down for about a 40% massive red dildo, girthy red dildo right over here from the 21 exponential down to the prior lows. Now, we're in a different kind of segment over here. I don't expect if Bitcoin is going to have a massive retracement, I don't think that we actually come back down to the lows. 5,400, I would imagine is going to be quite robust, and I don't really expect more than like a 30 to 40% drawdown from this area. So whether, we end up, really tagging 8,500 or we turn down from our current area, about 38 to 30 to 35% is going to put us right around, that critical pivot right around the 53 to 5400 to 5500-ish level. So again, these things all coming in contact with each other and just kind of like laying out the case for the longer term from a technical standpoint. Obviously, from a fundamental standpoint, I think that you can actually you can make a damn good case for the low being in. But remember, just because the low might be in or might not be in doesn't mean that we can't have a very nasty pullback. I mean, there's no sense, at least in my opinion. Of course, it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but there's no sense in my opinion of getting into any long-term positions, right here, as it is, I think quite likely that we do see a pretty massive pullback sometime in the next week or two, I'd imagine, which we can find a few things to time it out. But for now, I do want to spend a little bit more time on the lower time frame. So you do see that Bitcoin is struggling around the 10 simple here. I do think that we probably give another run towards this maybe 8,300 high. In the lower time frames, it does look like we're kind of gearing up for another attempt. But our medium-term oscillators are starting to turn down. We do see 4-hour Stokes headed down and starting to really, starting to really get a nasty slope on that. We're also seeing 4-hour RSI actually still that of consolidation. But of course, a little bit of bearish divergence between this point and this point. And we pretty much played out that bearish divergence already, actually. I'd say that is already accounted for. The 4-hour Jewel also getting it pretty damn well as well. This was a good sell signal right here as catching the actual top. Nice. Okay, there we go. All right, let's go over to the 8-hour and let's check out the mediums. We see the 8-hour actually making a decent attempt here. 8-hour Stokes still up, but those have been quite unreliable as of recent times, I'd say. Going over to the 8-hour RSI. Not really too much crazy things over here. A little bit of bearish divergence. Have we already played that out? You can make the argument for it. I'd say that this one's a little bit more neutral than anything with a slight up twist. My God, sorry about the stutters. I know it's fucking annoying. Going over here to the 10-hour. 10-hour looks okay. 10-hour actually looks like it wants to give another try higher. These medium time frames actually look bullish to me. It's the lower time frames that look like a little bit slumpy, and it's the higher time frames that are starting, like the very high time frames look a little bit more exhausted to me. But just because they're exhausted doesn't mean we can't have another push. There still are people to liquidate. In fact, looking at the shorts on the table, we do have about 27,000 open shorts. So people have been adding in this region versus 25,000 open longs. So longs have been taking profits. So they have been distributing. That's exactly what we saw yesterday. And shorts have been adding. Let's go look at the actual charts for it and see where these people are getting in their positions. So we do see shorts have a nice uptick on the 14th of May. Let's actually do a little bit lower of time frame and let's see exactly what's going on. Yeah, starting right over here from about 3 a.m. My time, Eastern European time. So we saw about 2,000 shorts go up. Okay, that certainly is significant. Let's go over and see what price action was doing on 3 a.m. on May 14th. And where was this? Where's my 14th of May? And I said 3 a.m., right? Yeah, somewhere over here. Yeah, somewhere over here. So short's been adding all in this region. So we're kind of, we are kind of in a contested zone, right? And I actually do expect that we do actually turn down a little bit from here. If I had to say something, a run back down to 7,400 certainly does not look out of the question. But yeah, funnily enough, Finex is actually trading about $50 below spot right now. Very, very strange. I mean, before it was obviously much different. Finex was trading about $400 above spot. It's just fucking crazy. But the Tether premium, I think, all but dissipated. In fact, looking at Tether right now, Tether actually has a premium on it. I mean, like Tether versus the dollar, and you can't even see it right here. So we have a massive wick to the upside of $1,000. It was probably just a bad print, or maybe just really thin books, something like that. But going into lower time frames, you do see that we're pretty much maintaining parity right at $1 spot 0030. So that's close enough, man. That's good enough. That's basically what it should be doing. So overall, not a huge problem there. So just kind of like putting the pieces together, I would say that, do we get another run up and kind of test these highs? Probably, but overall, another rejection, and I'd be looking for this thing to come back down, pop back down, likely to the mid to low 7,000s. Let's go back on over to the 12-hour. I do have a few more things to say right over here. Technically, this is a hangman dildo, right? Again, I don't, I don't really care what you call these things, but typically a signal of well, exhaustion and perhaps reversal. But remember, it's not until we actually take out the low of this when this is confirmed as, as a toppy-ish type dildo, right? And overall, we will be having some bearish divergence on this time frame as well between this point and this point, price point of 7,200 on all the way over here at 8,000. So overall, if this were to, if we were to tick down back below this area, yes, I would be looking for a pretty damn sizable retracement as well. But remember, it has to be confirmed first. Otherwise, you're going to end up like the people trying to short this area. Sorry, short this area. It was best seen on the daily right over here. And without any follow through, there's no fucking trade to be had. That's a big thing about it. And we've seen this for so long now. We've seen this for so long where Bitcoin gets these very aggressive downwards moves, right? These downward spikes right here, right here, especially on the weekly and of course right here. But it never has any follow through and just gets reaccumulated, rebought up while everyone's trying to front run their own signals. So this is why I say, hey, when the train is moving, just get out of its way. Ride the fucking trend. The trend is your friend until the end of the trend, right? As the saying goes. And right now the trend is still, technically still to the upside. I mean, we're still making higher highs and higher lows. The daily's fucking bullish. No doubt about that. It's just the lower time frames that a little bit cause for caution, I'd say. Going over here to the 2-day dildo time frame, what do we have here? Very good close on yesterday's 2-day dildo. Very, very strong. Look at the volume on this. This is beautiful from a TA perspective. Let's go over here to a higher time frame, or sorry, an exchange with more price action history. Bitstamp, and we do see the yellow 20-minute exponential moving average migrating above the white 200 simple moving average. Just another lower period above a higher period. And overall, we're seeing this thing slowly but surely splay out as volume increases to the upside in a very, 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 very violent push. So, I don't want to make it sound like I really want to remove myself from the discussion of, is Bitcoin about to like make new lows from here? I don't really think that that's appropriate. I don't really think it's. I think it's just not an appropriate discussion as long as we're above 5,400 or 5,500. At the very least. In fact, looking at this, I mean, this looks good. This is what you want to see. This is exactly what you want to see. Increasing volume to the upside in a very, 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 very aggressive move, which gives pretty much no one a second chance to people aren't getting like the pullbacks that they're expecting, right? That's exactly what you want to see actually coming out of a massive market cycle. Looking at our 2-day oscillators, we do see 2-day Stokes getting a little bit tired here. Again, a warning signal once again, but not necessarily crossed down. We do see 2-day RSI actually going to have no bearish divergence, but I do expect that it does come back down and test this exponential on it. It's quite it's quite extended here a little bit. And we are actually getting like pretty fucking high. I mean, I don't think I've ever really seen. When was the last time the 2-day RSI was above 90? Yeah, it was right over here in December 2017. So again, one of those things where in December 2017 we actually we put in this high on the 2-day RSI right over here, but it wasn't until we actually came back and put in a little bit of a lower high right here where the bearish momentum began. And if we wanted to line that up with actual price action, again, looking at this, and this is why I don't like to front run these signals, we have the first peak right here. This is the 90 read. And then we go up and we make a slightly lower high on the RSI right here. But Bitcoin's now at $20,000 versus, where it was before at about $15,500. That's a massive fucking difference, so again, if Bitcoin does have another attempt here, I would expect for it to put in some massive bearish divergence on the 2-day dildo time frame, and that's when that's going to be another major signal. So again, we're seeing the things start to emerge. The rally is starting to certainly weaken. But I wouldn't be surprised if we actually get a little bit more here. Ow, motherfucker. Jesus Christ, man. It's hitting this desk like it's my job right now. It's really hurt, too. Anyways, it's going to be okay. Okay, so let's go check out the 3-day time frame now. 3-day again, and I have a lot of things to say about this one, as we're gonna have a chance to, I believe, yes, we're gonna have a chance to actually open and not open and close, but close our first 3-day dildo above the 200 simple, this white moving average right here, ever since all the way back on over here in November, which once Bitcoin lost it, that was kind of all, that was kind of like the last of the Mohicans, right? Gave a few more tests and then down, and in fact, just back testing this a little bit, you do see that while it is a little bit clunky in the past, it was a damn good indication of where we kind of are at in the market cycle. If we're above it, generally bullish; below it, generally bearish. You see right over here, once we kind of took it back out, that was the beginning of your bullish momentum. So a little bit more of a lagging indicator, similar to what we saw on the weekly. But overall, Bitcoin does take it out here. It's going to be, it's obviously it's certainly a much better sign than not. But remember, we're talking about like higher time frame trend now, and I want to remove that from the discussion of talking about potential pullbacks in lower time frames, which can certainly happen while still maintaining the overall trend, of course. Looking at our oscillators here, we do see 3-day Stokes actually still very much up, very much erect. But here's the thing: the next tick we're getting tonight, and we're gonna have to see some more, burping it up, nice. We're gonna have to see some more momentum gain for this one to keep on going. And historically speaking, Bitcoin really does not like to stay this far, this deep into this territory for this long. So again, the last time that we were actually in this level, right around here in May, before we had a move from 10,000 down to 6,000 over the span of a few weeks. So again, it's just another thing saying, hey, caution. This isn't the time to get aggressive. This isn't the time to get FOMO-y. This is the time to let other people play out their FOMO and wait for the next big signals for the next big trade, which is likely going to be to the downside. And again, this is coming from someone who I'm probably going to be a buyer of that dip for like my actual account. Looking at the 3-day RSI, just straight fucking vertical. Again, we haven't seen this. We haven't seen a read like this in a very long time. Similar thing to what we saw on the 2-day, but overall, a little bit more clunky, actually, not as reliable as a 2-day RSI, actually, historically speaking. And here's something that I'm really keeping an eye on, and this is also kind of, it's gonna really set the discussion of, okay, yes, I do think that we can have a little bit more upside. However, I am looking for a pretty nasty retracement. Like I said, probably I'd imagine sometime in the next couple weeks. Sorry, not a couple weeks, but sometime in the next like 10 to 15 days if I had to nail it down. Again, I don't think that time analysis can really be done, but you'll get an idea of how I'm doing this anyways, or like how I'm kind of thinking about this, and then you can, if you think it's valid, then you can use it for yourself. If not, well, then you can tell me in the comments why I'm stupid and why I have balding head and I don't know, what other it's got to be more, man. It's got to be more. Anyways, going back in time, we do see that this red in the background is a first major indication of a potential massive sell signal, but it's not a signal in and of itself. So a lot of people have been getting the wrong idea about the jewel. I do show it quite often, and I'm happy to show, I'm happy to share, but I did also upload a video on how to actually fucking use it. So perhaps if you are tuning into these streams, just kind of get an eye on that. Perhaps consider watching that video, as it's going to go down into the details, which I won't go into here, but there's a very specific way to trade it. Anyways, the way that I'm about to show right now is not that way. So we get the red in the background, right? And then we get the light blue oscillator into this more critical zone around the 90 marker. And then once it gets a negative slope, these are some very nasty retracements in Bitcoin's history. Going back in time and just kind of backtesting this, we have this guy right over here, obviously, about a 76% drawdown. We have this guy right over here. I can't even reach up top to it. Jesus Christ, man. Come on, you fuck. There we go. About 70% drop down right over there. You do see another one right over here and right over here. This one's another like 50 probably. Yeah, about 44%. You're getting the point, right? In fact, those ones are a little bit more to the aggressive side. This one right over here, about 38%, and this guy right over here, about 38% as well. You're getting the point, right? It's about 30 to 40%. On average, when you get this signal. And right now, we're actually kind of setting up for another one. You'll notice that we had a weak attempt not so long ago, end of April, around April 22nd, where we had the light blue oscillator get into the critical zone, but not that deep. It only got to an 82 read, where we really need to see it up all the way up here towards a 90. That's when these nasty drop-offs happen. The only time that we've actually ever seen a similar setup to this was it right here? Is this one it? Wait, where is it? No, it's somewhere. Yeah, it's right here. I can barely see it. My screen is so dark. What the fuck? Anyways, we do see the light blue getting very, very shallow into this area. Now, it did play out a little bit of a drawdown. In fact, I mean, I shouldn't say a little bit. I mean, this is a legitimate move. I mean, it's about 11, 12%, right? Similar to what we saw right over here, on this past attempt here. For another 11.5% drawdown. I mean, it's certainly nothing to balk at, but at the end of the day, we're looking for the big boy one, which you'll notice that after that signal happened, right? After that signal happened and we got that 10 to 11% drop down, Bitcoin just got reaccumulated and marches on higher for this is a pretty actually It's a pretty aggressive move to the upside, about another 50%, right? So 50% to the upside, and then we set up for the actual sell signal right here, where the light blue gets a chance to get really deep into this territory around the 90 read, and at that point, once it gets a negative slope right here on the 1st of January 2017, well, that was the beginning of this very nasty, and actually called perfectly the top of this retracement down about 35%. So I do think that we're probably going to be setting up for something like that. But here's the thing. Remember, this is a 3-day doodle time frame, so every tick is 3 days worth of price action. And that means that if this light blue oscillator were to get marched up into this region, it's going to take at least 2 to 3 more ticks, I would say. And we're getting one tonight, so we'll get to, we'll get one out of the way tonight, but which very much will be bringing it up. I mean, I can tell you that right now. But after that, maybe another 1 to 2 ticks, right? So that's another, three, about a week of price action, most likely. So maybe I kind of synthesize my own expectations down to around a weekish, maybe like a week to 10 days. And if we were to just march straight up from here, it would take about that time to actually get us in this region where it does start to get quite critical. And at that point, if we get any sort of negative slope on the light blue, that's when I'm start to look for a massive retracement. But here's the thing: in 10 days, around 10 days worth of price action, how much more damage can be done? Because this would also imply more upside, right? As that's the only way that you're going to get the light blue, deeper into that territory. I mean, not necessarily, but as far as the calculation goes, for all intents and purposes, we're gonna need some to see some more. And so where could that end us up? I mean, shit, with 10 days worth of price action, the way that we're going right now, we're gonna be at fucking 20,000. But I would imagine that we probably start to lose more and more momentum as this thing does travel on a little bit more. And Jesus Christ, man, my mic is so dirty right now. It's been sitting around in my luggage bag all week, and so finally got my hands back on it. But looks like it needs a little bit of cleaning. Anyways, so yeah, tentative points of interest from an upside perspective would very obviously be this current area right here, right around right around this area, anywhere from about 8,300 to 8,500 is a point of interest. We also do have the next point of interest going to actually be all the way at 9,000, and the point of interest above that's going to be about 10,000 actually. So am I saying that Bitcoin's going to get there? Nope, I'm not saying that Bitcoin's going to get there. I'm just saying that if Bitcoin does get there in the next week or so, keep an eye out for this signal, because a 30 to 40% retracement is always a 30 to 40% retracement. Doesn't matter what price Bitcoin is. And again, this is why I think it's very important to be agnostic as a trader, not the fucking moon boy or whatever it might be, because it's the moon boys who are obsessed with is the low in or not, because they think that you can just fucking buy and it's just all said and done. And maybe that's the right thing to do for them, but I'd really suggest considering the fact that there's an opportunity cost of taking a trade and having your money in an asset that may or may not be moving. I mean, if it's not moving, then that's it's dead money in my opinion. I mean, shit, look at gold for the past 5 years. It's been in a massive range, right? And Peter Schiff, not too happy about that, are you old fuck? Anyways, going back on over to the weekly, I believe I didn't necessarily check this out just yet. We do see weekly Stochs getting quite tired as well. So a lot of signals really starting to emerge. This is the time to be cautious. I've been saying that for a while, but there have been good moves to the upside in the interim, no doubt about that. And that's what we use the lower time frames for. But the higher time frames are saying, hey, this trend is starting to weaken. And looking at the hourly right here, I really don't like this rolling attempt. This is starting to look a lot like distribution. And if this is distribution, it'll be confirmed once we have a move back down below about 7,700, 7,750, anywhere in this range. That'll be confirmed, and that'll set us up for a pretty sizable move back down to about 7,150. Anyways, sorry, back onto the 3-day time frame, and I apologize for being all over the place right now, but I just want to show what is it going to look like if we had like a 30 to 40% retracement from this area right here. Well, guess what? Guess where that would put us? It would put us right around 5,400, which, if you recall from the beginning of this discussion, 5,400 is kind of the area where, well, all of the all of these pivots, all these major market pivots are kind of coming in around. So again, it is one of those things where I'd want to be very cognizant of, just because if we do, if there is some good confluences here. Now, if we were to work higher, which is actually what it kind of does imply, unless Bitcoin just grinds this area out, which is also very possible. I don't really have a strong opinion on it just yet. Well, let's say the next target would be somewhere around like what, 8,700. If you were to have like a 35, 30, if you kind of put us in the same area, the numbers actually don't change all that much from there to there. In fact, I mean, even if we went all the way to 10,000, right, 35% retracement would land us at 6,000. So anywhere between 5,500 and about 6,000 is probably gonna be my next like buy zone for my actual account, for like getting on the actual right side of the trend, and gonna have like a stop loss somewhere around 54, maybe 53, right around that pivot. And as long as Bitcoin maintains above that, that'll be a long-term hodl position for me. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, just sharing with you exactly what I'm doing and why I'm thinking it, and then you can decide for yourself if that's appropriate or not. Anyways, let's go back down to the lower time frames. They've been actually quite fun to look at. And what do we got? Yeah, hourly's slumping here. It really needs to pick itself up. If we do lose this area, this will be confirmed as distribution. Let's see, what does a 2 hour say? Yeah, not really telling us too much unique things actually. 2 hour Stokes crossing back up to the upside. So yeah, I really don't have strong opinions right now on the market. I have strong opinions about the longer term type stuff. That I have very specific things that I'm looking for from a structural standpoint. But the lower time frames, I'm actually not too. I don't feel too comfortable with them, and I always want to be very, very transparent with how I'm feeling, because last week I was feeling quite confident. There was trades left and right. That was great, but right now not so much, and that's okay. As a trader, you don't always need to be in a fucking trade. In fact, one of the biggest realizations for myself was realizing that you don't have to be in a fucking trade. I mean, we think that as humans, because if you become a trader, like you become a trader, it's like a fucking event. No, it's not. It's just you start trading fucking magic and net money on your own. But we're conditioned to think that if that's your quote unquote job, well, if you're not if you're not working, then you're not doing your job, and you should feel bad. And how do you work? Well, you take trades. Well, trading as a profession is one of the few professions where it's more important to know when not to do something than when to do something. Well, I mean, they're both important, obviously, but you get my point. Anyways, 30 minutes starting to turn down here. In fact, the 30 minutes actually been decent chart as well. The 30-minute Stokes have been calling moves pretty fucking good. So yeah, it does look to me like very short-term time frames. We probably actually do come back down and tag 78.50. If I had to make a call there. But again, it's not till we actually start breaking this area where it starts to say that this is an actual distribution pattern here. Anyways, okay, let's go check out the crypto fear and greed index. We're ticking out of 77. We're technically extremely greedy, but remember, keep this in mind. We are seeing a great divergence from what we've seen over the past year. Over the past year, from 2018, we basically saw lower highs and kind of just grind out the lower areas, being very comfortable in the mid to low tiers of this oscillator. Well, now we're really getting comfortable in the medium to higher tiers. And I think I said about a week ago that I'd be looking for the crypto fear and greed index to get around an 80 tick before looking for a nice pullback. And I'd still kind of stick with that. I mean, we're pretty much there. Wouldn't take too, maybe like another up move, and people are going to get just that much more optimistic. And just as an aside for myself, and I mean this in no in no mean way at all, but a lot of like my friends who are not necessarily interested in magic net money or anything like that are starting to hit me back up once again for whatever reason. Right now, they really love Mr. Buterin, Mr. Ethereum. But you know what I mean, right? It's just getting a little bit too hot of a topic right now, as everyone kind of knows, which is okay. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just if you're gonna have a pullback, it's probably happening sooner rather than later. Okay, cool. So let's go talk about let's just check out CMEs for a second. CMEs did kind of close a top-ish dildo right here. Remember, we do have a massive gap down around 6,400, so at some point, Bitcoin is very likely to come back down there. Again, timing of that, though, highly variable. And the fact is, we had a massive gap up. We had about a 15% gap up. I mean, it's not going to be filled anytime soon, I don't think, as the bigger the gap implies that, the longer it's going to take to fill. But just looking at the higher time frames here, everything actually looks okay from a CME perspective. Look at the volume on this move as well. This is so much of an easier chart to read, actually. Took out the 50 exponential right here and just zoom on ahead. Weekly Stokes still getting way up there, but that's okay. They're going to stay up there for trending moves. Daily, what about daily Stokes? They're going to be snaking around, but losing momentum here a little bit. So again, it's I'm not too confident in this rally's, attempt for too much more. Maybe another leg, maybe another leg. But at that point, I'm really looking for the next big sell signals, which they're not quite there just yet, but they're getting damn close. And holy fucking moly! Hey, what's up? I'm sorry, man. I can't read your name. Well, you know what, my friend. I'll just say, good to meet you, my friend. And I'm glad that we're gonna have some good conversations soon enough when I'll learn your name. but for right now, unfortunately, it's a little bit too small on my screen as I'm using my laptop right now, actually. Anyways, 4 hour here. Yeah, not really telling us too much. We're not gonna get anything out of the 4 hour that's not already been said on the spot charts. Do you see 4 hour Stokes down as well? Same shit there. What about GBTC? GBTC actually majored down yesterday, major down close. In fact, look at this. GBTC came back down and filled the gap. We don't see that on any of the other exchanges. So this is once again the fucking everlasting question of, okay, is GBTC leading or following? And right now, other exchanges did not come back down and fill that gap. They did not come back down to what would be analogous to around the 6,400-ish level. GBTC did. Now, GBTC was a leading indicator for the past year, and then for the past couple months it has not been. It has been a follower. It's been kind of irrelevant, and right now we're kind of seeing divergence between these two. We see a very obvious rejection dildo right over here and then follow through on top of that. So, looking at this, GBTC kind of wants to come down, maybe even a little bit lower, maybe even test down around the $8, $8.10 mark. But again, it's a little bit concerning here. I'm curious what the weekly is going to be looking like. Yeah, weekly looks like a massive, massive, massive rejection as it stands. But of course, we still have what? 2 days, two days plus today to go. So it's really 3 days. Yeah, we got 3 days left to go. Anything can happen in fucking trading in 3 days. That's a goddamn eternity. But we do see weekly Stokes, getting tired here. We already see it on the daily Stokes. They are crossing the downside. This is a toppy dildo right here. This is a bearish engulfing on heavy volume. I mean, that's very likely to get follow through with it. Okay, let's go check out the other top shitcoins. I'm curious what they're doing. Shitcoins only used in a very endearing sense, of course, before everyone gets really fucking mad. Mr. Beaterall, hey, oh my god, 220 target got absolutely smashed. 230 hit as well. Nice, not bad. Again, wasn't really at the computer yesterday to watch this one with you guys, unfortunately, but a very, very powerful move from Mr. Beaterall, and I do think that we probably do pull back off this area. I need to go to Bitfinex though, just to get a little bit more price action history here. Yeah, so we hit the 220 target and then the 230 target, all in the same fell swoop. So what I was saying is we probably hit 220 and then pull back a little bit, and then probably hit 230. Nope, just went all the way to 230 on the first blow. So very, very powerful move from Mr. Beaterall, and testing the 50 exponential and Cyan 89 exponential moving average right over here for the first time in a very, 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 very long time. The 50 exponential was lost in June of last year and never regained. Basically, never even tested until now. Let's go back to the daily. Daily had a pretty damn good close, but look at this. Daily is finding its resistance right at the blue 377 exponential. I do think that while Mr. Beaterall probably does grind this area out, probably does make another attempt, right around that area and puts in some time grinding out this top, I do not think that it takes it out right here, right now. I think that it probably does retrace back down a little bit. Although, the more and more that I look at it right over here, this is very constructive price action. This is very good and constructive price action. So could I be wrong on this? You know what? Here's what I'll say. If Mr. Beaterall can close a daily dildo above 238, anywhere above 238, and then yes, I will be looking for a massive leg up actually after that, probably up here towards 311. Jesus Christ, man. Let's actually mark this one off. I want to hold myself accountable for this one. That could be a very nice move. Anywhere from 311 to 360 would be the next range. I mean, it's gonna fucking it's gonna rip. If it takes out this area, it's gonna rip. But my personal opinion is that we probably don't take out the 377 on the first pass. What we probably do is fall back down a little bit. Very aggressive move, very, very powerful move, but not immune from the ebbs and flows of the market. Let's go check out Mrs. Litecoin. What's she doing? Back at her prior highs. Nicely done, Mrs. Litecoin, you beautiful bitch. There you go. We do see actually some pretty constructive price action going on right now. You see kind of, just got reaccumulated in this area over the past, month and a half since April. We have April, then May. So yeah, about a month and a half. And I think that this does actually take another leg up. Look at the moving averages here. They're all kind of splayed around, and this is a perfect setup, actually. We do have each and every lower period trading above a higher period and momentum being gained as we approach a former high. I mean, this is likely to be very good. Daily Stokes have plenty of room to go. Daily RSI looks completely fine to me. Looks very constructive over a long period of time. I really like this move actually. Going over here to the weekly looks powerful. Weekly looks like it's ready to go. And look at this. Weekly Stokes have been down for the past 3 weeks. Well, price action has been up for the past 3 weeks. That's just allowed it to reset, and we're probably setting up for a move. And I think my next target is going to be somewhere around 110, give or take a buck or two. Do I know when that happens? I don't fucking know when it happens, but that's gonna be my next area. Now, if we go down to a lower time frame, perhaps we can synthesize this down. Say like, hey, if we close a daily dodo above 93. If we can close the daily dodo above 93 on volume, then yeah, we probably do take a leg up towards that area, especially with the market looking quite strong overall. 4 hour, however, lower timeframes are going to be printing some pretty nasty bearish divergence here, so lower timeframes do want to pull back, and I would say that I'd have a bullish view on this overall as long as it maintains above $84 from a longer term standpoint, like a more intermediate standpoint. $84 is the magic number right here. But yeah, a little bit of bearish divergence, so probably does come back down and tag maybe like $89, $90. But I'd be looking for it to actually get picked up once again. Okay, what else we got? It's 10:30 right now. Jesus Christ, man. I've already been speaking to myself for a fucking hour. Like a goddamn lunatic. Okay, what else we got? Mr. Cardano over here. What's he doing? Is he bouncing finally? Yep, I think he is bouncing. And this is why I don't like being short in these areas. And I think that this bounce actually gets played out more. I think that we're going to bounce up and hit the full target of like 1150 to 1200-ish area. I don't think it's done just yet. Daily Stokes, plenty of room to go. Daily RSI, bullish divergence coming off the lows. This is what I'm looking for. I do think that we actually work our way significantly higher. Looking at the weekly, weekly is going to close what is going to likely turn into a reversal type dildo, and we do work our way higher over time. I think that this one has seen its lows for now. And we're probably going to be testing a little bit higher. Remember, this is the Bitcoin parent, however. Let's go check out BNB. What's he doing? Back at his prior highs. Very, very powerful move. Again, I believe this one, I've been bullish on this one for a while, and I'd still be bullish on it. The key point was once we had this reaction right here, that was your key point that we were about to make our move back onto the prior highs and probably beyond. I do think that we break on through and make some new highs. Looking at the weekly, very constructive, very good over a long period of time. This one wants to take another leg up as far as I'm concerned. In fact, I think it takes up a leg sooner rather than later. This one's one of the best charts in cryptocurrencies. I mean, look at this. We make a new high over here, come back down just briefly, test the prior high from 2018, early 2018, and then rocket on from there. That's a really fucking good reaction, man. Really good reaction. Zcash catching wind of the market strength as well. And again, certainly on the weaker side as far as the majors go, but this one's going to be rallying up as well. Did smash through my $67.5 target. I do think that we're actually going to set up for a move a little bit higher here, about $79.5, $80-ish area, somewhere right around here, your prior high. What about Bcash? Bcash, one of the stronger ones for sure, but a little bit of a toppy-ish dildo right here. Let's see, what does the daily Stokes look like? Still up, actually. Still up, okay. What about the weekly? Yeah, weekly looks fine. But if we do take out 363, this thing's going to come back down to about 330-ish area, and that's going to mark likely the end of this rally attempt. So this area very critical, needs to maintain 363 for the bullish outlook, but the second that it smashes through there to the downside, I'm targeting to move about $30 to $40 lower. Tron Cash hitting that 2.7 target. In fact, actually a little bit more than that. Holy shit, almost 2.88. Nice, not bad. Hey, not bad at all. And I do think that this one does try a little bit higher here, probably towards the prior highs, right around 3.1. Neo, same thing, probably marching its way up to 1269. I think yesterday I was looking at a target of 11.5. That one got smashed all the way up to 12. Again, just looking overall decent, looking like it wants to have a little bit more continuation. This is same. It basically has the same chart as Zcash. They're on the weaker side, but they are setting up for moves here, and I do think that these ones have some pretty probably have some pretty impressive moves if we can actually close the weekly above these pivots. But again, we'll kind of reassess that when the actual weekly comes around to close. EOS, definitely one of the stronger ones. Getting ready for another leg up as well, in my opinion. Where's next resistance? Somewhere around here, around 688. Yeah, 688 is what I'd be sticking with. Did we already get there, though? No, 630. Yeah, not bad. Weekly looks fine. Weekly looks good. Daily looks potential a little bit of trouble here, but still a long day to go. I'd say weekly takes precedence, so regardless. What else we got? Mr. Ripple's nipples. Holy fucking moly. This thing smashed all the way to 45 cents. Jesus Christ. Powerful Mr. Ripple's nipples. Jesus, man. Oh my God. Okay, so this is a very interesting chart here. We see increasing volume as we break what is traditionally a bearishly resolved pattern to the upside, which yes, it can definitely happen. I've seen every pattern break out every possible way. It's insane. The name of the pattern means nothing to me. This one, a very impressive reaction though. This one's gonna put Ripple on on the leader discussion as well, just because this move was so fucking aggressive. Looks like we're going to be based off the 377, so I would be looking at this as a pivot at 39.5 cents. As long as Mr. Ripple's nipples, holds this area, probably likely to get reaccumulated and try higher towards, I'd say the next target's going to be around 51 cents. Weekly looks good. Weekly looks very good. Even if the weekly came back down and tagged like 36.5 cents, that's fine. Likely to get continuation off there anyways. And this is all coming when the weekly Stokes have been, kind of on the weaker side. Looking at Monero, what's Monero doing? One of the stronger alts as well. I do think that we'd sell off this area a little bit though. I don't think that, well, we've already kind of tested it right on this 3 days ago, right on the 377. So I do think that we're going to have a legitimate attempt here. But the more important thing to say is, hey, if Monero can take out $89, close the daily above there, this thing's going to find itself likely north of $100 again, 110 maybe. Stellar getting to our 12-cent target. Nicely done, Mr. Stellar. Following Mr. Ripple's nipples, not as aggressively though. A lot of resistance in this area, so probably does get knocked back on first attempt. But if we can actually take out, let's call it 12.92 cent, then I would be looking for a move much higher towards 15.5 cent. What else we got? Traditional markets for a second. Yeah, traditional markets having a pretty damn good bounce yesterday, as you'd expect. But overall, it's the weekly that I'm concerned with, and we have a long week to go still. So here's what I'd kind of be calling here. If we do close this next weekly above this yellow 20-month exponential moving average, which is 281, then I would be expecting a bounce much higher, or I shouldn't say much higher, but somewhere around the higher 280s, like 288 and a quarter to maybe even 290, back into this blue box territory potential. If we do close below the yellow 20-month exponential moving average, then I'd be looking for a move, actually ultimately much further down around 276. But this one's been a very difficult one to judge as of recent times. I do consider the monthly has tested support at 278, or sorry, 279. That's what it's looking like, 278.5 actually officially. But overall, this is a bearish engulfing right now on a monthly, and setup's starting to look a little bit more nasty. I mean, look at this rejection on the RSI off the exponential, looking a little bit more scary actually. So again, we also have some bearish divergence between this point and this point right over here. I mean, that is confirmed now. And usually that does insinuate a test back down to the 21, which is 269. So yeah, I would be staying with that. I would be staying with that longer term, but shorter term, what happens intraday, this one's very difficult to get. It does look to me like it probably wants to bounce up a little bit more, but I don't have a strong opinion on that. Longer term, I do have a strong opinion on, which I would say is to the downside. Okay, what else we got? I think we talked about everything. Holy fucking moly! While I was talking about all that bullshit, Bitcoin just smashed down another $100. So I do think that's we're going to be testing this 78.25 support. But remember, if you start to see this area get shaky here, that's when this morphs into a distribution pattern, which pretty much already looks like one. We have bearish divergence from here to here. We have the rounding over slope over here. Yeah, this is probably coming back down. Tentative targets, 75, 50. Below that, 72, 25. Those would be the two ones of interest right now. I don't think that we do any more damage than that in the interim, but I could be wrong on that. Let's see, hourly Stokes moving down as well. Yep, we're going to be moving down here. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not insinuating that we're breaking this area just yet, but we're gonna test this area very likely. So again, Bitcoin's having a pretty fucking impressive run. I mean, this is off the current lows. We're what, like 3x? No, not 3x, but definitely more than 2x. Off the lows, we are, 169%. Great number too. A great number. So yeah, basically without no pullbacks. I mean, I mean, if you measure it from this area, after this area right here in February, early February, there's no pullbacks. About 150% up. Pretty fucking good, man. So Bitcoin can afford a pullback here and be completely fine from a long-term standpoint. But yeah, I certainly would want to be protective right now, just in case. The only way that I get bullish is if we saw a 4-hour total close above 83, let's call it 8,300. I'd be more cautious here than not, so I'd want to give it some. I'd want to be more conservative. Anyways, with that said, I think that's going to do it with what I wanted to talk about today on Bitcoin. Again, probably not going to be doing a live stream tonight, unless if I can complete all these tasks at a heroic pace. Maybe it can be done. Nobody knows. But with that said, I do want to wish you a very happy rest of your Wednesday morning or evening or wherever you might be in this world, whatever time it is, even if on this planet, nobody fucking knows. And with that said, take care, and I'll see you soon.